Good morning. Good Monday morning. Good cloudy Monday morning. I didn't realize it was this late because it was cloudy. I was moving around. I just wasn't in here. Anyway, you don't want me to do devotions from in there. Right? Anyway, how are you? I hope you had a good weekend. I hope you got out. I got out for a hike, so it was a very good weekend. I love hiking. Now I get to, don't get to do it till next month again, I guess. I got to work that out, right? I got to figure out how to do it more often. So, yeah. All right. So that means making more money, pay more sitters, find more sitters. If you know of a sitter, let me know. I'll be glad to hire someone another Saturday or Sunday or two a month. Well, it'd be great. But anyway, it's okay. I enjoyed myself. I took the whole day Saturday and just played. I went to the Word Rights, Oklahoma City Christian Writers Group thing at Last Drop early Saturday, and then I went for about 4 miles. I was aiming for about 4 miles. I didn't want to do. I wanted to do more, but I knew I hadn't been doing. Just been walking. So I shot for 4 miles. Got about four and a half, and toured the Round Barn in Arcadia. Man, if you get a chance to do that, it is the most amazing piece of architecture from like early 1900s. Big round, and I guess they have live music there. They had a lot of old implements like farming implements from back in the day, horse drawn or mule drawn, I guess, potato planter. That blew my mind. They knew how to make their hard work easier in some degree, some degree, right? Anyway, it's quite amazing. So if you get a chance to go out there to Arcadia, if you live in Oklahoma or you're traveling Route 66, I've traveled quite a bit of Route 66, just enjoying the history. So anyway, so much for that. Here's my announcement. I'll try to hurry. I've already wasted a whole minute, 2 minutes. Check out my bookstores this week. I am about halfway done with Peace Out. So I've got the devotions. It's all based on devotions that and scriptures, I should say, the scriptures that we've used for these morning devotions on peace. Um, it has a little bit of everything in it. So it will be out sometime this week. I hope to get it done by Wednesday, but I'm not promising. So Wednesday is the 23rd. Yep. And that is our 2 year devotional anniversary, right? And so I'm hoping to have it done by Wednesday, but I can't guarantee that. I know I can have the ebook done, and once I get that done, it has to go through the Kindle process, all the processing to get it ready to actually publish on Amazon, and then the print will I'll have to get it over into a different template. So my goal is to have all three forms, the ebook on my website, which that'll be immediate. Once I get it done, it'll be on that. So hopefully I can at least do that by Wednesday. I'm going to pray I can. We'll just see how things go through the week and how diligently I work on that and other projects, and how crazy the schedule gets. And then the others hopefully will be done ready by the end of the week. We'll see. In the meantime, you can check out my bookstores. I put the links there. So you want to grab a James study guide so we can have, you can join us on Wednesday night, whether you join us on Facebook Live or in Zoom or join us later. There's quite a few people joining us. It's actually grown every single week. We've had another person in the Zoom, and then we had more people watch last week and interact. You can interact on the Facebook Live. I keep that chat up so you can actually interact on the Facebook Live also. So you want to grab a James study guide, maybe a declarations book, and by the end of this week, a Peace Out. It's in the Bible devotional, 30-day devotional. So in studying, going back through all the verses that we've talked about over the last 2 years when all of this started. I lost my page here, but I've got a list of them here somewhere. And I was like, wow, it's amazing how God and the Word direct us right back into His peace. It's amazing how He left His peace here and how much Paul talked about it in the epistles. He told us to let it guard our hearts. He told us to uh, that Peter prayed, "May peace and grace and mercy be multiplied to you." We talked about uh, loving. Even in the psalm, the fruit of the spirit is love, joy, peace. I believe I studied one time, and found that peace was in every book of the New Testament, and to some degree it was talked about to some degree. And I'll have to restudy that. I don't remember it being in Acts, but I bet it was. So I'll have to study that. Maybe I'll do that. I've got a couple. I've got a Bible study I'm teaching tonight and Thursday night, so I'm kind of tied up with that. But when I have time to really study again, which should be tomorrow actually, maybe I'll look at that again and just see. But it's amazing how it's all in the Old Testament too. Even David said, he gives his people peace. And we know that God extends His grace, He extends His mercy, He covers us with it, He loves us. We've got all these things, but it's so many times and throughout Scripture that He gives us His peace. He implanted it in us. He covers us with mercy and grace, but He gives us His peace. And I'm just overwhelmed looking back at the how many where it sneaks up on us in scriptures. Even one of our favorites. If I say Jeremiah 29:11, you probably just thought of I have good thoughts of you, right? God says, you know, I have good thoughts of you, but He also says right in the middle of that He says thoughts of peace. Peace. It's in Jeremiah, it's in Psalms, it's just in all of these different books. It's in Isaiah, it's in Micah even. It's in Proverbs. Peace just keeps showing up. There's got to be a reason for that. Maybe God's just trying to communicate to us that He's giving us His peace. And then it's up to us to choose to live by that peace, to choose to let it reign in our hearts. And I have to say that I probably struggle with it more. You guys are probably just great at it by now, but I still struggle. I've been incredibly sad last night and this morning with Chris. I don't know, it just makes me sad. And I have these moments and I'll get over it and I'm okay. But, in those moments, I forget. Sometimes I just let that sad, and that's a healthy thing to address, to sense the sadness, allow it, and address it is healthy. To let it sit and drag me down and wallow in it is not, right? To process those moments of sadness because it's part of my life is normal. And so, where I get hung up is staying in that moment rather than grabbing His peace and going, oh yeah, okay, you gave me peace, even in difficult situations. So having His peace doesn't mean that nothing bad happens. Having His peace doesn't mean I don't make bad decisions still. Having His peace doesn't mean I don't get mad at somebody, or having His peace doesn't mean that life doesn't happen. But what it does mean is that right in the middle of life happening, I can stop, grab His peace, and let it reign over whatever is attacking me, whatever is coming at me, whatever is trying to bring me down, whatever is trying to distract me from the kingdom, because it's all about the kingdom, not here. See, in the kingdom, Chris is still whole. His spirit man wasn't injured in the wreck. He's still whole. What I see is not. So I have to focus on what's real and true and right in the kingdom, right? And that is that God still protected His soul. God protects our soul. He doesn't always protect our body, because if you walk out in front of a truck, you're going to get smacked. So there you go, right? If you fall off a cliff, you're going to get something's going to break. He doesn't protect us from those things necessarily. Sometimes He does, but He doesn't protect our body as much as He protects our soul. He keeps our soul, and that right there gives me peace. As a matter of fact, I won't go there anyway. So we can always go back to that peace, no matter what goes on in our life, no matter how difficult it gets, no matter how easy it gets, no matter how complicated and complex it gets. Life is going to be life, but in the middle of life, we can still, in the middle of our Mondays, if every day was a Monday, oh God, please don't let it be. But if every day was a Monday, we can still have His peace. If every day was a day full of trouble, we can still have His peace. Job had that. Sometimes Job gets a bad rap especially from the faithers, because they're like, well, see, he said the thing I feared came on. He had fear, and that's what brought it on. No, it didn't have anything to do with it. But Job, in the middle of his struggle, had peace with God. His friends sat there. Well, I won't call them too good of friends, but his companions, his neighbors at that point, sat there and condemned him. Well, you sinned, or this wouldn't have happened. What did you do? You did something horrible. What did you do? You're just a bad person. You had to do something because otherwise this wouldn't have happened. They gave him a bad rap, but he kept going, no, God and I are tight. God and I are okay. I didn't offend God. I would never offend God. I love God. And he pursued that peace, and he grabbed hold of that peace that he knew he had with God, and he didn't let his friends talk him out of it. That takes some stamina, some spiritual stamina, some spiritual confidence. Do we have that confidence in God? Are we at that level of peace with God that if somebody said, "Well, you got all these sins," I actually had this happen not too long ago, uh, and I have to say, I didn't grab peace first. I got mad first. I did. A nurse came and she told me that Chris is like this because I have unforgiveness in my heart. She did. Oh, I was mad. I was mad. I was very nice to her. I said, and I always do this, even if something makes me mad. I'm like, yeah, I told her, I said, well, you know what? I'll pray about it. And if God shows me somebody I need to forgive, I don't know who in the world it would be. But I said, I will definitely, I don't know of anything, but I will definitely pray. Because sometimes people say things that it makes you mad, and it really is, there's really some truth to it, right? So I actually, went to God in prayer and said, God, is there somebody I'm forgiving? Is there somebody I didn't forgive? And He never revealed anybody. I even went through just mentally a lot of people that I could be mad at, and I'm not mad at anybody. I'm not upset with anybody. So He never revealed that. But the point is, people say things like that, and we have to come to the point that we her that's right. Yeah, maybe her now because of that statement, right? No, she's actually been back, and we have a good relationship. But anyway, she's actually a believer anyway. And so my whole point is that I had in that moment the opportunity to either grab those words that she said, and not I addressed them. I prayed over it. I asked God to reveal. And my everyday thing is still, if there's anything, but in that moment, I can liken it to what Job must have gone through on it. Only his was a much larger scale, right? But he, with his friends sitting there going, "Well, you wouldn't be sick, and you lost your kids because you didn't forgive someone, or you sinned against God. You have some grave sin." And he had to grab that piece and go reevaluate for a second and go, "No, no, that's not accurate. I'm tight with God. God and I have this all worked out. I have a relationship with God. I am a friend of God. God, I trust God still." And I had to do the same thing. Do I have ought to get somebody? No, nothing came to mind, but the whole point was that I have peace with God even in the midst of a difficult situation. We can still have that peace with God. And so when something new comes, and something new's going to come at some point, all of us, we're breathing, things are going to happen, right? We're either going through something, have just gone through something, or we're getting ready to go through something, right? And so, but no matter what happens in this natural realm, we can always go back to that peace with Him. And that can carry us through some crazy stuff. That can carry us through anything that comes our way naturally, spiritually, because you know why? When we have peace with God, we're going to run right back to Him. We're going to lean right back into Him and go, I need your strength for this. I need your help with this. I just need to feel your love today. It's because it becomes about a relationship with Him, not just a rote, I don't know what's the right word. It's not just an existence. It's a relationship. And we can know that we know that we know that He gave us His peace, and that we can walk in that peace. So I want to encourage you today to grab hold of the peace that He gives, because that's unquestionable. He gave us peace. Period. Jesus said, I'm leaving my peace here. And He left it in us. We've just got to find that and let it rain. So I encourage you today, no matter what dumb stuff somebody says, or true stuff somebody says. anyway, along that spectrum, right? No matter what comes your way today, whatever craziness may go on around you, just know that we can find that place of peace. We can still live in the shelter of His love and His mercy and we can walk it out. We can let His peace reign over anything else that tries to come through our heart today. So grab hold of that peace. We have peace through and through, and it's all through the Bible. Just pick a book, it's going to be in there. Trust me. Anyway, peace out. Have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow.